The Esports World Cup is really hammering it down on esports this year. They will be hosting one of the biggest events in esports yet, with a total prize pool of $75 million. In times where esports seem to be dying out over the last few years, Saudi Arabia decided to pump massive amounts of money into it. And now it's even including Trackmania, a car racing game that has been around with its numerous titles since the 1990s. But this is not quite the first time for Trackmania to be included. The story behind the EWC and what it is today and what it once used to be goes back 20 years. So, Trackmania is returning to the EWC after 9 years in 2026, after not being represented since 2015. It was formerly known as ESWC and was founded in France in 2003. For almost 2 decades, they hosted various tournaments, including 32 competing countries in various video games. After already almost not making it through the 2008 economic crisis and closing its doors in 2009, they luckily got bought up in 2010, continuing big esports tournaments, including well-known and beloved video games, and connecting players from all over the world. But then, in 2018, it all ended with a small offline CSGO tournament in Africa. And for a period of 5 years, nothing happened with the brand ESWC. But then, in October 2023, the ESWC brand was acquired by the Esports World Cup Foundation, which comes with a lot of different and often negative opinions. The annual EWC esports tournament is located in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and that's where the controversy stems from. A country that is notoriously known for not having the same kind of human rights that most of you watching are used to. One, where LGBTQ+ rights aren't a thing, and with a game like Trackmania, where this group is massively represented within the community, it only makes sense that they are disappointed. A place that is building a flashy image it can present to the world, which is built on modern slavery, with tons of reports about their building projects, especially for big events. Or a more recent event where it held the Riyadh Comedy Festival, which also got a ton of bad news about it. There are a lot of valid points to be critical of this development within esports, but on the flip side, it seems that esports in itself was slowly declining over the years, and the tournaments hosted by EWC bring in enormous amounts of money back into it. But hosting big events in an area where wars have been present since its existence, a place that sadly never seems to rest. Especially now that the US attacked Iran,
launched Operation Epic Fury, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it.
And led to most airports shutting down in the area, showing how fragile the whole Middle East still seems to be. This begs the question, is this really a place to travel to? Most humans living in the Western world never have been involved in wars or been close to them, might think twice about Iran being their travel destination this year. In this video, I will solely focus on the history, facts on what this means for Trackmania, and encourage everyone to make their own opinions about this. On January 19th, 2026, a now highly discussed blog post is being published. Trackmania joins the Esports World Cup 2026. People are quick to comment their opinion on this matter, and it's not very positive at all. For the first time in ages, Trackmania will be represented on a big stage. For a very long time, it shut off from mainstream gaming. Ubisoft and Nadeo are also notoriously known for not advertising the game to any bigger audience. I mean, even the only social media they officially have listed on the website is LinkedIn. Since the release of the newest game, Trackmania 2020, there was a big split within the community itself. A core group stuck to the older releases since they did not want to pay for a subscription model of the game. But the majority of the players did transfer and actually built the game with releasing hundreds of thousands of maps, and kept it going for so many years. Nadeo would occasionally release game updates and host its own World Cup, but somehow often end up with fewer livestream clicks than community-held events. The content creators and mappers in this game are really what held this game together for this period. The sentiment was, Nadeo's not trying hard enough to get this game out to the world. From my perspective, I think a lot of community members don't mind it too much, since it created a very tight and mostly positive community, which I haven't encountered anywhere else. So with signing this multi-year partnership with the EWC, it actually brings a big chance to the competitive side. But what will it really be like? First of all, Trackmania will be represented twice this year within EWC. From the 19th of November until the 22nd, there will be a 32-player global stage playoffs at the ENC, the Esports Nation Cup, where 4 groups will be competing. The top 16 players are directly invited to compete. There will be 2 wildcards, and the last 14 players can gain their spot while competing in regional online qualifiers within the Elite Cup, where players are able to collect points. The sum of the players' top 5 results will count for the Elite Cup ranking. The top 8 players will qualify for the EWC, and the top 16 players, 1 per nation, will qualify for the ENC. The maps itself showcase the newly added environments the game has to offer now, and are all set in different countries. For now, representing USA, Brazil, France, Greece, and China, all of which seem to be remakes of old Team GL maps. What is new though are the releases of the maps. Usually with tournaments in the past, the organizer created the maps and you can find them in their clubs and campaigns. But this time, they used the game's seasonal 4 campaigns to release the maps, and used the hardest ones, which are the black maps. To be able to play those maps, you need to buy the subscription to the game. This is a very interesting change, since usually maybe only a few hundred players actually play those esports maps, since they aren't catered to the broad community, and they had to go out of their way to access them, instead of just clicking the campaign, which is being showed as soon as you open the game. So it feels like for the first time, there's a proper connection between esports and the casual audience. In other games, it is very common that players get to play the same maps as the pros. Like in CS2, you can play Premier and it feels close to what the pros do in tournaments, with picking and banning maps. That similarity has never been seen before in Trackmania. The only downside this might bring are the maps have gotten less hard compared to old competitions. However, it can also make the entry for casual players way easier. This is probably another incentive for players to get the paid club access and try out the maps they might see in the tournaments. So for the tournament's map pool, this is the system. First, we have the winter and spring black tracks that will be used in both EWC and ENC online qualifiers. Then, for the EWC 2026 main event, it will feature the spring and summer black tracks. And lastly, for the ENC 2026 main event, it will feature winter and fall black tracks. So soon, with the release of the spring campaign, we will get to see the next 5 maps. But this is all fairly normal tournament stuff. This is where it gets interesting. This ENC tournament contains a shared prize pool of $250,000. Just a bit ago, at the end of March 2026, the EWC held its first qualified tournament at DreamHack, Birmingham in the UK, with a prize pool of already $20,000, where the top 8 players qualified to the EWC. This appeared to be the most anticipated tournament in ages, since there was so much to gain for the pros. They gave it their all. You could tell the players really prepared for this tournament, just because the stakes must have been so high for them. With Pac winning and even saying he will use the prize money to pay for his wedding. Compared to other games like League of Legends or CS2, all of this seems small, but we're talking about Trackmania. This kind of money has never been in the game. So far, the tournaments with the highest prize pool were Ascension Tournament in 2023, with approximately $95,000, Red Bull Faster in 2025 with around $52,000, and the Trackmania World Tour in 2023 with around 27,000, which of none could exceed $100,000. Trackmania is a game that clearly had a declining interest over the decades. Being picked up by the biggest tournament in esports right now will maybe spark a broader coverage it could ever achieve on its own. But this isn't all. Like I mentioned earlier, TM will be represented twice this year at EWC. In the summer main event, it will feature 32 players competing in a fast-paced championship format for $500,000 prize pool. In the group stage, players will race in 4-player lobbies using a double elimination format. The top 8 players from each group will advance to the playoffs, with 16 competitors progressing to single elimination matches to determine the Trackmania champion in Riyadh. So within this 1 year, the total prize money from just 2 tournaments combined to a total of $750,000. Don't get me wrong, we know where this money comes from and it probably ain't clean. In the current state of TM, there's no money within it. People who compete often work jobs or study like anyone else, or are lucky enough to make money as content creators as well. Suddenly, the best players within this game have gotten signed to huge esports organizations, and for the first time ever, are probably able to live off playing this game professionally. They are able to focus way more on practice and build an actual career out of it. Winning just one of the qualifiers can set you up high in the total wins in Trackmania. Since before, when competing for years, you were lucky to gather even a 5-digit number. But for a game so deep in the shadows of the gaming world, it almost seems like a logical step. For a company known to struggle to regain popularity over the years, it really begs the question, is there a better way, or is this the step Nadeo has to take to make the game survive? It's not a secret that back on October 5th in 2009, when Nadeo was still a small but profitable studio, it was bought up by Ubisoft, in hopes to be growing the player base and have access to more professional developers and an easier way to advertise. But these days, Ubisoft isn't doing so great either. Just a few days ago, in March 2026, they announced layoffs of 100+ employees and ending game development at Ghost Recon Studio, Red Storm Entertainment, the studio behind titles like Tom Clancy, Far Cry, and The Division, a game which broke records during its release. Over the last few years, Ubisoft has cut hundreds of staff and closed numerous studios in the previous years. Just at the start of 2026, they have cancelled 6 games and even closed 2 studios completely. So the future for them looks really grim. It's almost a miracle that Trackmania seems to be untouched from all of this so far. So the community behind Trackmania has proven over and over again it can gain traction on its own and interest gamers in following big events just like Deep Dip, even though they don't play the game themselves. So is joining EWC just a stepping stone to secure the future of the game for Nadeo? A chance to grow the game and be part of another more stable studio? Or stand on its own feet again? Or maybe this is just a result of what is happening within global esports in general. Since Saudi Arabia has been working on building a more Western image and to become a hotspot for tourism, and is rebranding itself with hosting more and more events, just like the Football World Cup. They bought their way into football, boxing, and other events just to be able to find a new and maybe more sustained way to generate money for the future. And since they have big budgets, they're able to get anyone. There's one perfect example where this didn't work. The GeoGuessr community held their ground and actually boycotted being part of EWC. And they were able to pull the game out of the tournament. If you have any opinion on this matter, I would love for you to share it in the comments.